Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany. And recently I made a video talking about German parenting and the 5 signs that you are raising your kids in Germany. I was so pleasantly surprised by the awesome feedback that I received on this video, whether you agreed with what I had to say or you didn't agree. There were just a lot of really interesting, thought-provoking conversations going on in the comment section. It's always a pretty touchy subject talking about parenting in general, but when you were talking about, a whole country, then it's even more of a touchy subject. And I just want to make it clear that I am in no way saying that all Germans parent in this way or all New Zealanders parent in this way. Absolutely not. But these are things that I've noticed since living in Germany, things that I have noticed about parenting since living in Germany that are just different to what I'm used to. Not bad, not wrong, just different. So I actually experienced something the other day that pleasantly surprised me about German parenting, and it made me think to myself, I'm so happy to be raising my kids in Germany. This is the type of thing that I love about German parenting. So if you watch my videos, you'll know that I have 2 children, Emilia, who is 6.5, and Matteo, who is 2.5. And Matteo is what I would call a typical boy. He absolutely loves cars and trucks and trains and tractors and just all of these sort of stereotypical boy toys. It's nothing my husband and I have done to influence this. Our house is full with girls' toys as well, but he is just automatically drawn to boys' toys. That's just who he is. But the other day I noticed that Matteo was playing with one of Emilia's baby dolls. He picked it up and he was pretending to be the baby's papa. And he was saying, "Hello, baby," and just getting the baby dressed, and he spent like so long playing with this baby doll, and I thought it was just the sweetest thing ever. And then when it was time to pick up Emilia from kindergarten, Matteo asked me if he could take his doll with him, and I just hesitated for a second. I know this is like ridiculous, but for me, like growing up in New Zealand, kids, like little boys who played with dolls, they got laughed at and teased. And I don't know if it's still like this in New Zealand. Those were just memories that came to my mind about my childhood when Matteo asked if he could take this baby doll with him, outside the house. And I did hesitate, and then I said to him, "Sure, you can take your baby." So Matteo took the baby doll, and on the way to kindergarten, he was still pretending to be baby's papa. He was rocking him, and it was adorable. I was so pleasantly surprised by the positive reactions that Matteo received by having this baby doll with him, and these reactions were from males and from females. The first comment Matteo received was from an older German man, and he said, "Oh, you're going to be a good papa, aren't you?" And as we walked on further, a lady said to me, "Oh, that is so sweet. We need good papas in the world." And I thought to myself, that is so true, and what a wonderful reaction. And then when we arrived at kindergarten, all the kids were playing in the playground. It was beautiful weather, and a little boy came up to Matteo and said, "Hi Matteo, what's your baby's name?" And then another little boy said to Matteo, "Are you the baby's papa?" And I just thought this was so sweet. Like, instead of teasing Matteo for playing with this doll, a boy playing with a doll, it was just more like curiosity. Oh, he's playing with a doll, and the boys just weren't fazed by it at all. And then throughout the week, Matteo wanted to take this baby doll with him wherever we went, and all of the reactions he received were just so positive, and it really got me thinking. It made me think, how cool is it that boys can play with dolls and not be made fun of? I mean, why shouldn't little boys be able to play with dolls, and why shouldn't little girls be able to play with cars? I think it's awesome. And also something I've noticed in Germany, I don't know whether this is a really common thing, but I have noticed several little boys coming to kindergarten wearing nail polish. And I think that's really cool. Like, their mums were probably painting their nails and they wanted to try it too, and their mums were just like, okay. There's a certain mentality that I have noticed in New Zealand which I really, really don't like. I haven't noticed this so much in Germany, and this is the whole kind of macho male mentality. Don't be a pussy, you need to be tough, you need to be a man. And I don't like this. I actually despise it. And I am not saying that all New Zealand guys are like this. I have 3 brothers who were born and raised in New Zealand. They are the nicest guys you could ever meet, and they're not like macho males. But I also think it comes down to the fact that my parents didn't raise my sons in the way that, you need to be a man, you need to be tough, like a lot of like Kiwi boys are raised. I grew up playing with dolls with my little brother, and this was something that was encouraged by my parents. parents. You know, this is just how we grew up. My parents were very open-minded in that way. But I have to say, I do remember that kind of like macho male attitude of a lot of New Zealand men and little boys, and like growing up at school, it would be quite common for a guy to say, oh, you're a pussy to another boy, or you're gay or something like that if they, you know, did something that wasn't, you know, like manly enough. This was just looked at as a real insult, like don't be a pussy. And I really think this kind of macho mentality in New Zealand has a lot to do with the rugby culture. In New Zealand, rugby is just a real rough boy sport. You know, it's kind of like American football, but without all of the gear, like the padded gear and everything. And so many Kiwi guys just are so obsessed with rugby, and it's all about being tough, being a man and that kind of thing. And like my dad, he was also a big fan of rugby, but not in that kind of macho way. But a lot of guys are, and they want to raise their boys to be like All Blacks, like rugby players, and so they have this kind of like attitude that, you know, you need to be tough. And I remember when my husband Rob was in New Zealand, he noticed this kind of mentality and he didn't like it. He didn't like this whole macho culture. And once again, I don't believe that all New Zealand guys are like this. There are just a certain group of Kiwi guys that are like this. And it's just kind of like this attitude of, if your son is playing with a doll, he's going to be gay, and like being gay is like the worst thing ever. And I've talked about this with Rob even before we had kids of our own. If we have a son that turns out to be gay, who cares? That's just who he is. And I don't believe that a little boy playing with a doll makes him gay or means that he's going to be gay. And I think this is why I was so pleasantly surprised by all of the positive reactions that Matteo received when he was playing with this doll from males as well as females. The reactions and comments that Matteo received by playing with this doll were more like, oh, you're going to be a great papa, rather than, oh, your son's going to be gay. You know, it's not like somebody would like say that probably, but you can kind of tell when someone's implying that, like, oh, you know, you should be worried your son's playing with a doll, that kind of thing, you know? And one thing I've also noticed is that I've never witnessed a German man making fun of someone for being gay or making fun of somebody's sexuality. It's just not considered cool or like socially acceptable to do that here. I'm sure there's German men out there that do this, but I have not witnessed it since I've lived in Germany. And I know in Germany, you know, we don't have like the rugby culture like in New Zealand, but there's like the football culture, the soccer, and a lot of German guys are just really into this whole soccer culture, but it's not done in like this macho way. I think that a lot of German men, they're just very comfortable with their own sexuality. It's just like, you do what you want, I'll do what I want, you know, we're all humans type thing. And I really love this. And I do think this mentality has a lot to do with how German children are raised. You know, little boys are allowed to be sensitive, little girls are allowed to be tough. It doesn't matter, you know, boys and girls are equal, and I love this. This is just my theory, my observation. I have just completely analyzed this whole situation, and I'd love to hear your opinion. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Why do you agree or disagree with me? I would love you to share your opinions in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to hear more of my opinions on German parenting, then don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. I would love you to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye!